So welcome to No Stupid Question.
Hello, everybody.
This week, welcome.
It's for real.
It's for real.
TLeake and
rah,
JAG.
like a dungeon drag. What's up?
No specific order.
I love the
No
script.
Stupid Question show.
Can we curse on this show?
We can do whatever we
It's for
feel.
real.
Tanya,
Okay.
your question
For
for
real.
today
No.
is
All right.
stupid.
So,
Question.
No more to another episode
What's the name
of
of
No
the show,
Stupid
Jay?
Questions.
No
Jack.
Stupid Questions.
I'm sorry.
Welcome to this episode of
My first question is, who are you?
No Stupid Questions.
Hey, folks. Welcome to the latest episode of the No Stupid Question show, the show where you have two smart people and one stupid question, or so we thought. I didn't say thought. That's not what I meant to say. So we thought.
What? How you spell it?
Let me not go down that path. This is
That might be the
TLeake.
path we're going around anyway.
Yeah, right. And we got Jag. Jag, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. What's up, people?
Good.
Welcome to the No Stupid Question show.
So what's our not so stupid question for today?
So TLeake, what's on my mind is, have we boarded the train to Crazytown?
Oh, we definitely on the outskirts. I don't think we have boarded, and it has left the station, and we are now on the outskirts of Crazytown.
So we're on our way.
So I would say yes, we have boarded. I'm hoping we don't, I'm hoping we get stopped at the outskirts. What do you think? I'll let you answer, and you tell me why that question. What's the crazy town for you?
Well, I'm actually going to say no. We have not,
Okay.
because that would the question sort of implies that we are worse off now than we have been before. Or I shouldn't say worse, because who's the
No, we could have been to Crazy Town and left it. That don't mean that. I don't know. That's not how I took the question.
Well, that's how I answered.
We may be frequent visitors.
I mean, I'm wondering, because all this stuff going on, you have, all of the racial stuff, all of the LGBTQ stuff. We have all of the, it just seems like a lot. So I'm wondering if we gonna start raving mad. I mean, it just seems like a lot going on.
It does. I think I've heard a couple of people talk about how they feel like the world must be about to end, because it just seems like everything is the other phrase, going to hell in a handbasket. I mean, I was random, news flashes, and I know that there was a woman who was on The Voice who was in concert. You heard about that one?
Yeah.
And peed on somebody on stage.
And I interrupted you as you said that. She did what?
I actually couldn't believe it myself, so I had to go. And this is why, I mean, we just like watching train wrecks, I guess. But I was like, I just gotta wait. What? How did she, with a certain non-standing up peeing genitalia, pee on the stage? Did she have a dress on? Like, what? I just needed to know some context. And no, she didn't. If anybody who hasn't seen it and is
are we gonna link that? Are we gonna link that on the show?
You know what?
We have to
no,
stay away from
we're
it.
not.
Okay,
Because
we're gonna stay away from that.
I'm not gonna subject you to it. If you choose, you can do the work to find it. But I just was like, what is happening?
So wait, I gotta stop.
She needed to stop.
She needed to stop. Wow. So wait, my question though, and this may seem like a strange question, but I'm gonna tell you why I'm asking this question. Was she on The View before
The
or
Voice?
after said act? The Voice. Before.
Oh
after?
yeah, I think she was on The Voice in 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, she's not.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
she's out, I guess, reaping the benefits of The Voice, being in
And
a
one
band
benefit
and
is you
everything.
can pee on people on stage.
I don't think that was in the contract, but yeah, it was. I could, when I read it, I was like, no, this has got to be wrong. So when I say we're on the outskirts of Crazytown, I mean, that just to me was what's going on.
And I don't know why I'm going down this road, but
Oh,
golden showers aren't a new thing, though.
no, they're not, but I am not aware of them taking place on a public stage before. In fact, I'm pretty sure in the article I read, it is illegal. So if a law enforcement person had seen it, then she would have been under arrest for indecent exposure, and et cetera.
I mean, clearly some law enforcement officer did see that. And
let me tell you,
they turned the blind eye to it.
Well, the person that was peed on didn't, maybe that was, his cup of tea, which is, his prerogative. But in the video,
he didn't seem to object too much. He seemed to be.
Well, but he also splashed the audience at the end. So I think that was one of those where
trying to share the glory. I don't know.
Yeah, trying to spread the gold around.
Right.
And I mean, let's be clear. This is definitely an interesting incident, but it's not the only reason why I feel like we're on the outskirts of Crazytown.
Well, I want to leave this incident. I do, but I just gotta ask. Maybe I am returning to Crazytown, but so who is more upset? The guy who got peed on, he didn't seem upset, or the people that he splashed? Because I could see some of them being highly.
Well, it's interesting because I think, depends on what level of upset you're talking about, but I understand that the band members were just kind of in shock, and now they can't play at the whatever venue they were at. I think it was actually the NASCAR event. So NASCAR will be hiring them and all this other stuff. And so, they're gonna have to figure out what to do band wise.
They better find a new lead singer.
But no, I think that, since this guy volunteered, I'm pretty sure that he was good. His face in the video sure looked like he was enjoying it. Yeah, I just hope she had her share of water, that day. Maybe that's why she couldn't.
Well, I saw the video and, it wasn't a little bit of pee. So she must have been hydrated. That's all I see. Okay, let's move on from that.
There's a positive.
Right. She knew she properly hydrated.
Yeah. Yeah, but maybe that was the downside to the hydration, is that she didn't want to leave the stage, but she had to go. Anyway, all right, let's move on to, now that you all have gotten. I hope you're still here with us.
Yeah, and so there was
we're as confused by that as you are.
There was also a tragic event in Houston, the Travis Scott Astroworld concert.
Yes.
And talking about
that was another thing
Crazytown.
I had to, my mouth was hanging open. Like, when did we start injecting people with opioids against their will? Like, what is going on?
Right.
Who makes that their terrorist act? I'm like, what?
So have they concluded that was what happened, or is that a theory, or?
No, I'm pretty sure that is for sure.
Okay. So you had a bunch of things going on at that event. You had people rushing the stage, rushing the venue. I mean, I saw a video of people rushing one of the gates, and I guess they weren't worried about COVID because they were all over each other, just running all over the place. But it was interesting because one of the things that struck me was I saw the security guards' reaction to the people rushing the stage. Mm-hmm. And you had security guards trying to trip people, trying to push people down. I mean, I understand they lost control, but you can't then do crazy stuff like that in response to it. It just seemed completely out of control. So maybe we are on the outskirts of this crazy.
Yeah, I was just looking. So apparently, there was a series of cardiac arrest that took place.
From
I'm
the
looking at the
opioid,
social media
from
statement.
random opioid.
And they were looking into it, and I'm just yeah, because I and then it's the sad thing was a 9-year-old that died.
Right.
Was just, I mean, he was trampled, and it's just so sad. Yeah. So it's definitely, yeah.
It's a lot of craziness going on.
Yeah, so that's definitely, that was tragic, and that was also, yeah, that was some Crazytown stuff.
Right. And then of course we got the things in the courts going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the Ahmaud Arbery trial is still going on, I believe.
So by the way, I do want to say that apparently that was a narrative that seemed to be unfounded about the
I hadn't heard about that.
Injecting people. But there was a story that was out that there was an individual injecting other people with drugs. Now there was a report of a security officer that he was out and reaching over to restrain or grab a citizen, it says, and he felt a prick in his neck. So, I mean, but even the concept that came up, I was like, who came up with that? Even if someone had that as Travis Scott has announced that he will cover all the funeral costs for the victims.
He probably going to cover a lot more than that.
Partnered with renowned mental health provider, Better Health, to provide one-on-one therapy. So, I mean, yeah, there's he's going to be paying a whole lot more.
Yeah, he's going to pay a whole lot, because apparently this is not the first wild concert that he's had. Anyway, so what do you think about these trials that are going on? Is that part of our Crazytown march, or is that business as usual?
That's a good question. I mean, we have, I think the big cases are the Rittenhouse case, which I'm not sure what's going on. I actually haven't, I mean, probably because I don't want to, I haven't gone into looking at I don't know if there's video or, you know, all the details. I haven't wanted to really look under that, that rug, because I'm sure there's a lot of dirt under there. And it feels like this is the OJ trial, the new generation's OJ trial. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. You're a lawyer. What's your thought on it?
Well, I'm sure. Let me just give a brief overview of what the case is about, just in case someone is protecting their mental health and not paying attention on a day-to-day basis.
Hey, and we have no shade there, because that's kind of what you got to do sometimes.
Right. So excuse me for giving this recap, but Rittenhouse was the guy who went to
17-year-old at the time.
17 years old, went to Wisconsin to protect, what he says was to protect the businesses from the Black Lives Matter rioters or protesters, to make sure that people's property and their persons were safe. He did this with a AK-47 assault rifle, I believe.
Or was it AR-15?
It was an AR-15. You're right. I'm sorry. I don't know why I tried to bring the Russians into this. And, and ended up killing 2 people and disabling a third.
And let's be clear, for those people who don't know, because I didn't know what an AR-15 looks like. It's a rifle, and he had it slung around his back like he was just, I mean, it was, like I see in the movies, right? I mean, I don't think I've ever seen
Rambo style.
Yes, right. Exactly.
Right. And of course, his defense is he was protecting people. And when he shot these folks, it was in his self-defense. But it sure seems like he was an instigator to me. But I didn't see all the evidence. We'll see what the jury comes up with. And, a lot of people are upset because there was only one Black juror. And mind you, Rittenhouse is a white male, and he shot 3 white males. So maybe it's not important to have Black jurors. I don't know. But in Wisconsin, I don't know what the percentage is, but maybe one Black juror is about the percentage that you have in Wisconsin.
Well, and I do know that they threw out the charge that was most likely going to stick, which is that, of course, he had, as a minor, a weapon, an illegal weapon. But it got dismissed because the barrel of his rifle wasn't a certain size or something that basically made it in the length of the barrel. And I was like,
Right.
this is ridiculous. I
Well,
don't care. Go
okay,
ahead.
so the lawyer
Okay.
in me has to disagree with you because the law that was passed was narrowly written, and it was probably written, no doubt, it was written to deal with sawed-off shotguns. People think sawed-off shotguns are a problem, and this law was written for sawed-off shotguns. So his weapon was not a sawed-off shotgun. So when the statute says if you carry a weapon of 18 inches, which you can hide in a trench coat, and not a weapon of 24 inches like the rifle, I'm just making up numbers because I don't know the length,
Mm-hmm.
then his weapon didn't fit that law. Now, you can say, why in the world would you craft a law that narrow? But then you need to look at the people you're electing and putting in office to answer that question.
Well, I think that this concept of the statute was supposedly, quote, barring possession of a dangerous weapon. And I don't know. I mean, I understand that. I mean, the danger of the weapon in the hands of a minor, yeah, that I have a really big problem with, because and you know, this goes to a much bigger issue, which has to do with our gun control laws in this country, period.
Right.
Because basically, bottom line, I don't care if you're hunting or whatever. It is, you know, and again, this is definitely my personal opinion, but I think that just like we don't put a car in and even then, right, when we put a car in minors' hands, we have some restriction around them. The insurance is high. There are some things to put in place to you know, really have them understand that this is a serious responsibility,
Right.
or at least have the, you know, parents responsible for it. And I mean, none of that is in place for guns. And it just seems, I mean, again, common sense gun law is what a lot of people are asking for. And to me, that does not make common sense. That
No
according
argument.
to something that says possession of a dangerous weapon, that would, in the details of it, fall out.
I don't argue with you, but when we're critiquing the judge who has to deal with that particular law in this particular case, I think he followed the law in this particular case. Now, I agree with you. The law was poorly crafted. There was no foresight on the people that put that legislation together. And, you know, most states could use better legislation along these lines. But in this particular case, that judge followed the law, in my opinion.
Okay. Still
So
makes me think we in Crazytown.
well, I think we were in Crazytown when they passed the law. And
Okay, I agreed. I mean,
so
you know,
maybe we're on one
at
of
least
those
on the
trains.
outskirts.
Okay. Maybe the train stays on the outskirts of Crazytown. I don't know. So what else? And then we have Ahmaud Arbery, the trial surrounding his murderers. I don't know what to say about that. There's a lot of craziness going on.
Well, that one, and actually, it's funny that you were talking about what you agreed with the judge on that one. I saw that Benjamin Crump had, you know, tweeted this video that said that, or he was showing how the judge was talking about why he had made the defendant choose the jurors that were going to be thrown out. And it was because of a case where, you know, there was some, you know, some folks that didn't feel I guess in one case, the one Black person that was on a jury got thrown out and the defendant was Black. And so if the defendant had picked it, it would have been like, so, I mean, he was trying to make I guess, he said it was about the optics, which, I mean, optics shouldn't be the case and it should be just whatever it is. But I didn't think that because the way he phrased it was he was really trying to articulate, because I think he called it, when they picked it, it was the only Black person, the only Black. He didn't say person, which I guess is what people had an issue with, because he called it the only Black. And I don't know. I guess you know, we're getting into interpreting what people are how people say things in terms of their mindset. Now, again, I haven't followed it, but there's supposed to be a bunch of other stuff that people are saying has shown that the judge is clearly biased.
So you're talking about in the Rittenhouse case again. I'm sorry. He was the one.
Oh, was he the one where I saw the?
Yeah, he was the one that referred to the juror as a Black.
Oh, okay. So see, I don't even.
Or maybe it happened in both cases. I don't know, but I know the one in the Rittenhouse
because I know
case
both cases have had a jury issue, and so you're right. I could be merging the two, but again, this I guess as a summary comment, details aside, excuse the incorrect details here. It's just that it's the reality of our lives today is all of these things get blurred together. Both of them have an issue with juries. Both of them have an issue with the judges, or some people have an issue with the judges in both cases. Both of them seem to be kind of biased towards the defendants. And I think it is in the case of Rittenhouse, I mean, he didn't kill anyone who was Black, but it is clearly a racial tinged situation because of the fact that he was going there because of Black Lives Matter. And then, of course, in the Ahmaud Arbery case, those men were, again, supposedly protecting. So I think, another sort of Crazytown, I guess in Crazytown, you can just shoot whoever the hell you want to. And that goes to another law, you could talk about that, where we have the stand your ground law, which again.
Do you have that in Georgia?
In Georgia, you know what? I know that you can, I thought they were standing on the citizen's arrest law in Georgia.
They were in Georgia. That's correct.
Yeah. And so, but all of those to me are so slippery slope. And I think going back to this question of the statute that I hate to say it, defended, the problem that we have in Crazytown.
Whoa. I'm not defending the statute. I think the statute was crazy.
Defended the application of the statute
in this particular case, given these facts.
Well, but again, that's the problem. The problem is that when Black people look at this, the thing that Black people say is, if that was a Black person, the size of that gun would have been a non-issue. It would have been followed by he wouldn't have you as a lawyer or she, but I mean, because even the stand your ground laws, right? We have unfair application of that on Blacks versus white. I mean, just generally, this,
you
that
do have unfair
things
application
get
of laws,
applied,
which is why I want judges to follow.
Way.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Which is why I want judges. Which is why I want judges to follow the letter of the law, because if they start putting their own spin on it, then I figure me and my people gonna come on the short end of the stick. I don't want spin. I want you to follow the letter of the law.
Well, I think there is a lot of law that's left to the discretion when we talk about, because I think even with the stand your ground, right, there's a discretion in sentencing and things like that.
Without a doubt. So
I think that in any instance, it's like we can't win, and that feels very frustrating. So that's how Crazytown operates. And so that's another reason why it feels like we're just yeah. And then, my sort of final thing that's in the news is this infrastructure bill. And I heard the other day that I don't remember what state he's from, one of the southeast states, basically said in a, I don't know if it's a press release or speaking directly to his constituents, that, he's really wanted to rebuild the infrastructure in his state for a while. And that was, something that he really, really wanted and had made happen. And he voted against it. So what pisses me off is that this is a pretty consistent sort of behavior within this partisan politics thing, is that, they vote one way, but since people don't dig into how they voted, they take credit for the positives of the vote. I mean, and that was, the way that it was stated was that he was taking individual credit. And so the only thing that could be attributed to is his vote. And he didn't even, support it in order to make it happen. So to then talk about it afterwards, like, you're the man, I was like, this is crazy town. This is crazy town. And people will just, again, nobody looks at the voting records. And that's something that, we can say is one of our calls to action, is that's really, really important, that when you vote for someone, take a gander, at how they're voting, especially on these large bills, because that can inform you as to whether or not they should stay where they are. And you got to, have a long memory about those things, because especially if they've promised the opposite and then they vote differently.
Well, so you're talking about Republican Representative Gary Palmer.
Thank you. What state was it?
Well, now you're testing me.
Oh, you should be able. Google should have that.
Yeah, Google will have that. I just didn't Google that. But you're about to tell us where he's from.
Yes.
But
he represents the 6th district in Alabama.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's enough said. We can move on to the next topic.
Yeah, so I will tell you, and we can include the link for this. Palmer was roasted for the hypocrisy of securing the Northern Beltline funding, but voting against it. So, yeah, he touted funding for the Birmingham Northern Beltline that he worked to include in the federal infrastructure package, but declined to mention that he voted against the legislation.
Well, but I don't know what to say. I mean,
were you going to say, but he's something? Were you saying, but he's something?
I mean, he's following the script. He's following the script, and the script says, damn the truth, say what you want what you think people want you to hear. I mean, say what people want to hear, and hopefully you don't get called out on it. And even if you do, they'll probably forget by the time the election comes around.
And that's what we gotta be careful of. We need to not forget. We need to have longer memories.
But it's going to be tough to unseat a Republican in Alabama.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you can choose another Republican, and sometimes you have to do that. You have to, go with the lesser of two evils. So Crazytown. I don't know why every time I hear that, the song pops into my head, but that was Funky Town.
Well, I was like, is there a Crazytown song? And that's,
yeah. Won't you take me to Funky Town? Yeah, I don't know why that pops into my head. maybe it's wearing on me and I'm going a little crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, and then anything having to do with the pandemic has almost sort of fueled this like nitrous for the train.
Aren't we doing better with that? I mean, we're coming up to Thanksgiving. I'm hoping
so can I say this, because I posted this on my Facebook page, because I was so, and actually so it's my 2 other Crazytown things, and these are so climate change. We haven't talked about climate change. I mean, these are all the Crazytown things. This is like, so scientists have said, so everyone's in, where were they? In Oslo? Where were they? Shoot, I forgot. For the climate conference.
Right.
And the goal was 1.5 degrees, cumulatively over, some period of time. And we got to 1.25 or something like that, just short. I'm like,
okay.
Let people, leaders, do your job. We couldn't get to that. That was why you were there. And, I'm like, what are you doing? Everyone says they have this big commitment to, and we can't get it done. I don't understand. I don't understand how that happens.
We don't want to have to sacrifice the things we've.
I understand that, but that's what Crazytown people do.
Well,
and
you're right. It is, because everyone doesn't believe as you believe that the situation is that dire.
Well, but I will say the companies that flew in for this conference, I'm pretty sure there were companies that chose not to go. So out of the companies that came,
right,
make it happen, because you came saying effectively, I believe that this is a priority. I mean, that's what all their press releases said. And yet we come away not meeting the goal with no reason given, and kind of putting that number out there that's under the stated goal. And it's like, well, wait. It's that to me is as bad as the Alabama guy. It's like you say, look what we did, but you had a target and you didn't hit it.
It came close in their eyes.
Well, but close means still we burn up on our planet. I don't know how else to say. That's like, well, we came close to not falling over that cliff, but that extra foot put us over there. It doesn't matter. You gotta stop. The brakes gotta work. We haven't put enough brakes on. So there's that. And then I saw that in the Chilean desert. So I think most of the ladies or major shoppers, clothing shoppers, will know that you see in social media all the time they call it fast fashion, and we'll include a link to this. But basically,
guys don't do that. There's no
I don't know. That's why I said anybody that's into fashion. I was gonna make it, specific, but I was like, okay, well, anybody that buys cheap clothing and likes to, have something that approximates some of the celebrities, the knockoffs.
I didn't even know that's what fast fashion was. See, I learned something. I learned yet another thing.
I mean, it's cheap. And it comes out quickly. It turns over quickly. And so what I saw was that there's 39,000 tons of unworn, unsold clothing that has been dumped in the desert in Chile. And it's because when all of this stuff that's being like just thrown out there, fast fashion, is not bought in the US, the UK, and Asia, it goes, US, Europe, and Asia. It goes to Chile to be sold in Latin America. If it isn't sold, it's dumped. And this stuff is not accepted at, city municipal landfills because it's treated with various chemicals that make it not biodegradable. Right, and I was horrified. If you look this up and you see the article that we attach, you will see a desert strewn with clothes. And you got to know that that's not sustainable. There's no way we can continue dumping. And I don't know how long it took to have 39,000 tons there, but I can only assume that it's ramping up rapidly. Right. And that is crazy. And I'm gonna raise my hand and say, I will stop. It's very enticing. You see something, you're like, oh, I just had my birthday. I was like, oh, that's going to be cute, blah, 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 blah. And it's only, so it's.
Well, I'm gonna stop too then.
Whatever, man.
It's easy for me to stop. Right.
Yeah, right. You got to show it to your children though, and make sure that they know what this means, for their future.
Yeah, I don't think my kids are in the fast fashion, but
again, it's what you don't know when you get to the point where you will start doing it. So I think it's important to share this stuff and have them have the awareness, right? Early on.
Right. So that's what this whole show is about. I mean, you gave me some awareness on some of these topics.
I don't know that we needed to know that somebody peed on somebody on the stage, but that's how we started off the show. So
that's how we started off the show.
That was definitely Crazytown headline.
So, are we on the train to Crazytown?
Have we boarded? We have certainly boarded. I'm hoping we can put on the brakes for real. It's hard to
stop a train
before this. There are brakes, though.
There are brakes. There are. It just takes some foresight,
effort,
stop it, and effort. Yes. And we need to apply that in this case. I don't want to leave a crazy world for my kids.
And Kamala's approval rating is in the 20s, is it? I think it's in the 20s. So I'm like, she doesn't have any power. She's not like, I don't know what they want her to do, but I'm not particularly surprised.
When did they start doing approval rates for vice presidents?
Oh no, they've been doing that for a while. Let me see.
I've never heard that be the news. Well, okay.
Well, I think
what was Pence's approval rating? I mean, it had to be pretty low.
Polls versus Biden and other VPs. Yeah, she's at 28%. So let's
So it's
see.
close. It's close to how voters viewed Pence after his first 6 months under former President Donald Trump. So they, they just
Okay. Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
president.
It's slightly lower at this
He
point
was
in
at
their respective
19% at
tenures.
one point. Okay.
But no,
Okay.
at this point in Joe Biden, she's 17 points lower than he was. Dick Cheney, she's 52 points lower than where
Dick Cheney was a hell of a VP.
he was. And Al Gore, she's 39 points lower.
So that might have to be another show.
What is that?
Because as you said, you predicted that. So I don't know if that's a Crazytown show or not.
Yeah. Well, So our next show, we'll talk about surprise versus disappointment. I think you can be disappointed without being surprised because people show you who they are and you always want them to change, but you know who they are. And you know who you are, people that I'm talking about. Sure. But I will say, in the spirit of Crazytown, I always tell all my friends this, is that the people that live in Crazytown, the citizens of Crazytown, I call them crazy makers, because they want to make you think you're the one who's crazy. And just so we're clear, you're not.
No stupid question show.
You can ask any question that you want, or don't ask no stupid ass questions.